Hello everyone and welcome to the behind the scenes of Rose Sports. My name's Shiga and today I'll be interviewing a wide range of people within the community and feel free to ask any questions you have. So first off, I'm going to introduce you to Dime. So Dime, if you tell everyone a little bit about you.
Um, I'm Dime. I play a lot of Football Fusion, which is one of the football games on Roblox Sports. There's a bunch of different football games, but I play Football Fusion. I'd say it's probably the biggest one due to the range of people that play it.
Cool, okay. The next person I'm going to move on to is Hudson.
Yeah, so I'm Huddy. I make content on TikTok and I play Ultimate Football mostly. I'm an Ultimate Football activist, and honestly, we compete in a lot of leagues. We do a lot of things within the community. We overall just have fun, and I'm just here for the games.
Cool, okay. And then Jason.
If you guys couldn't tell, I am the creator of Ultimate Football. I've been on the Roblox platform for 10, oh no, 12, almost 12 years now. I've made free football games over the course of the last 7 years. So I've been in the sports community for a long time.
So longer than most of these people have been alive.
Okay.
Probably, it is always interesting finding kids who were born after my first football game.
Cool. And then I'm going to move on to JJ as the next person.
Hi, yeah, I'm JJ Swat. I create content mostly around FF2. Sometimes I do some variety, but mostly Football Fusion and yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. And then King of Light.
Alright, hi guys, I'm Kingo. Nice to meet you guys, and obviously, I've been in the row sport scene for about 10 years. Mainly OFL, AFL, LFG, HCBB, NRBA. I mean, I could go on and on all day about leagues I've covered, so we're gonna stop there.
Cool. And then the last person is Pasta.
Hey friends, Pasta here. I am currently streaming for HCB, which is a Roblox baseball league. But I started out in football. I've also covered hockey, soccer, and a wide variety of sports, and love to stream, do audio and graphics.
So that's everyone in today's event. And I think the best question to start off with will be aimed at Jason. And the question will be what sparks your interest in creating sort of row sports and the group in a way?
Uh, Competition has always been a big thing in my family, and that's something that I kind of learned from my dad because he used to play football in college, and so the way I kind of got started in football games was I used to play a game called New Football Legends, which for all you oldies, you remember that game. But for those that don't, it was one of the first kind of games on Roblox that was actually like a football game, and me and my buddies were like, we would play it all the time, and of course I would always lose. But I was thinking at the time, I was like, I can do so much better than this. I can actually, I never made a game before. I'd never done anything like that, and so I was convinced that I could make a better game. And it took 3 games. It took 3 of them to finally get there. And this last April is where we finally hit our stride. Um, but ever, Sports has always been a part of my life. My dad always took me to Seahawks games. He's always taken me to Air Force games, and it's always just been like something that's been a part of my life since I've grown up.
Real quick before we ask the next question, I just want to make sure, was that Era's New Football Legends are you talking about? The one that was made by Era?
No, that's something guest. What was his name?
Oh
of
yeah,
Guest.
Legend of Guest. Yeah.
Legend of Guest.
Yeah, okay, that was my question.
Not Era's. Sorry, Era.
Awesome, okay. And then the next question will sort of be an open question unless someone thinks it'd be better aimed at them. But the question is what are some of the unique challenges or rewards that you've gained from running a row sports related group?
Ooh.
I mean, I think I can
You
answer
asked.
this. I think I can answer. I think I can answer this one. There's a lot of benefits, but there's also a lot of challenges when it comes to that. Sometimes it can be absolutely mentally draining to just like keep it up the entire time. Like you have to you almost treat it as a second portion of your life when you're full timing that. So just to kind of like have your own life and then kind of like a life where you're doing a lot of things for a bunch of people in a Roblox community, that's like two completely different things where you have to tend to both of them equally. So I mean, just like the division of time when you have so many other things going on in your life is a big challenge to it, in my opinion.
Okay,
I'll say the biggest
interesting.
reward. Sorry, the
No,
biggest
go for
reward for
it.
me is just the amount of people that play this game and want to get better, or any of these games, and just the ability to show them ways to improve and seeing that payoff of them getting better and then thanking you for, showing them, how to do that. And so just seeing that improvement as people just strive to be better at something they love is really rewarding.
Okay. So
I oh, go ahead, Tyler.
no, go for it. Go for it.
I've liked a lot of the portions because my main thing on YouTube is where I create like competitive videos, because a lot of people like I kind of made it a staple of my channel to record a lot of my league games that I play in, and that's where my channel really started to blow up. But a lot of it was because people wanted to see that side of Football Fusion, where a lot of the content creators were just playing like public servers and stuff like that. Well, I started playing the competitive aspect, and that's something that a lot of people wanted to see. Um, I think it's just cool to like be able to do so many things within Roblox sports, because there's a lot of different stones you could unturn that could turn into like something people want to see, and there's a lot of stuff that's still uncovered that content creators can just keep finding ways to produce better content overall.
Absolutely, and I just want to say, excuse me, that the growth of the community has just been the absolute joy to see over the 10 years I've been in this. I think it's been so incredible to see. I mean, obviously, I started with OFL back in 2013. See games like Ultimate Football are like a dream come true, Jason. So give credit to Jason there, and also I think just continue to see OFL's community grow and AFL and all those leagues. I mean, starting off with like 0 members to now OFL has almost 40,000 group members. It's unbelievable to see, and I just think seeing the growth of the community and continue to see us go from 6 teams in OFL to one point we had 34 teams, a complete college league with 20 teams is absolutely incredible, and I think that that's just been an absolute joy to see.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So as you mentioned, you hit a massive mile count for the amount of members, so a massive congratulations for that. The next question is sort of on that topic, and it's how do you go about building and maintaining a strong and engaged community?
Well, that's Huddy. That's all Huddy.
I think a big portion of it was a lot of the things about like, okay, to start off, we obviously marketed it through games, through like word of mouth and things like that. But a big thing that I think is very underrated in this is that if we like rose sports, typically you like real sports, and that's something that bonds this community together. I talk with other people about real sports all the time, and that kind of goes hand in hand with each other. That's a big portion of it. There's another thing which is like media, where we'll cover other people, and we like to make people feel included in it. When we like to type articles and make things about like players and stuff like that, they like it when they can see their name or their team up there that they did good. So that's a big portion of it too. We like to include everybody. We like to make everyone feel like they are a part of the community. So I think that's a big emphasis as well.
Absolutely, and if I could interject here too, I just wanted to say, I think one thing is I started streaming 3 years ago for the community. I would have streamed way sooner if I knew what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing, and then I didn't have PC, and I had to save up for a PC and all that. But I absolutely, I think a lot of it is a lot of dedication. I think we can all of us here can agree to that. Streamed almost every day for the past 3 years, just about. Very, very rarely. I was actually nervous to the point where when I went to Disney World in August this year, I was nervous to go away from my channel and see, am I going to see it spike downward and worship and all that? I was nervous to see that. So I think that's definitely something that I think we can all attest to.
Yeah, definitely adding on to what Kingo said. Like I remember this year my dad got a house down in New Jersey at the shore for like a month during July. For all of July. And I remember I would go down for like a week because that's the amount of content I had. And then I'd come home, edit a bunch, and then go back. And I just did that the entire month. So like I kind of had to I had to like make my schedule around playing Roblox football, which is kind of like nerdy to say, but I have to like there's a lot of sacrifices that come with this. Like I've had to skip some IRL events like football games and stuff like that just to play a game or something like that.
Adding on to that, yeah, Ultimate Football took 3 years to make, and there were a lot of sacrifices that I had to make. But I think that in the end, it's all worth it. And I think just kind of watching a community grow and interact and being able to interact with them, whether that be people in like say our older audience or people in our much younger audience, I think it's such a joy just to see people's reactions and the impact that you can make as a community leader on kids and individuals. I think that's, in my opinion, the most rewarding part. Obviously, making games is fun, but I do it for the community. I think it's more fun when you make an impact on people and it's a lasting impact.
So, and Jason, I wanted to say, I really appreciate you as a developer because you actually interact with the community and take their words into consideration, unlike other ones. I'm not going to name any names, but I think we might know who I'm talking about.
I mean, one of the nice things about Football Universe, I think. I mean, obviously, Football Universe was never as big as Football Fusion, and we can go on about why. But I think what was nice about it is because it was such a small game, it really made such a small, tight knit community, and I was able to become friends with a lot of the people that were in the community. A lot of my friends that I've made on the platform and in general have been made because of that game. And that's one of the biggest things I love and I'll take away from that game is the connections and the memories that I made with it. Versus nowadays, I don't think with Ultimate Football I would get the same effect because it's such a big game, it's such a big community, and I'm interacting with so many people all the time. I don't think I would get the same experience. So, I really appreciate that kind of slow rise to popularity.
Awesome.
Absolutely. I was just gonna ask Jason too. I just wanted to ask, when did your first game come out? Just because I'm curious to remember. I don't remember exactly when. I'm curious.
So that was sophomore year of high school. So that would have been 2015, 2016ish. That was Roblox NFL 1. And then Roblox NFL 2 came out 2017, and then Ultimate Football this last April.
Cool. Okay, so all of that is very interesting to know, and I'm sure other people will be wondering how can they get involved in Rose Sports, whether that's helping you guys or even being able to start their own sort of mini group. Do you have any tips or advice for that?
I think I can take this one as well. When it comes to wanting to get involved into the league, there are I think people like us. You can literally reach out to any of us, and people that are like that you're hearing talk right now are completely open to helping you guys get involved into the game. That is a part of our pleasure. We want that to happen. So again, if you reach out to any of us, we will easily help you guys get involved. But to start your own thing, it takes a little bit of a community. It takes a little bit of getting used to it. It doesn't just happen like, oh, I just discovered this game today, therefore I'm going to run the biggest like community tomorrow. It takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of those connections that Jason had talked about. But if you really want to get started into it, just start playing, fidget with it, trial and error. Keep doing it a bunch of times, and then you'll crack the formula eventually.
I can add on to this. Speaking leagues-wise, if you're trying, like, it's really easy to get involved with the community just by playing public servers and messing around with your friends and those sorts of things. But if you're trying to get involved in leagues, that's also not very hard at all. Like there's the biggest leagues, like there's LFG, there's AFL, there's stuff like that. But to go on with it, there's also things called side leagues, which obviously aren't the main leagues. They're smaller, but you could still like get franchise owner in those, build your way up, get better at the game, and then like just apply to become an FO in one of the bigger leagues. So getting involved actually isn't all that hard. Like, it may seem like it's kind of complex, but honestly, it's really not that difficult.
I'm gonna say too is, and I think people really underestimate this. If you want to get your name out there, doing media, articles, that type of stuff, that can really get your name out there. And I think people think, oh, I can only get my name out there if I score 7 touchdowns every game. And there's other ways to get your name out there, to get your foot in the door, to start. And people offer me, and I've never played any of these games because I'm a streamer. So that's your way you could actually get in your foot in the door, and I think that's interesting.
If I may actually add on to that for a second, King, you bring up a great point, because I'm in a very similar boat. My Rose Sports playing days are far over, but people have been recruiting me from different leagues, notably hardcore baseball, despite not having played a game ever in the league. So I think that the media aspect of getting yourself more involved is definitely very important and definitely a good point to bring up.
Absolutely. And I wanted to also say that, that goes for all the row sports and leagues. I mean, OFL, AFL, LFG, HCBB, BMHL, NRBA, row basketball, hockey, every sport. I mean, you can get your foot in the door in so many different ways. And I wanted to also say that we've been talking more about row football because I think that's most of ours favorite here, but there are so many different row sport leagues, and you'll see people who are cross-sport athletes, I call them. The Roblox Bo Jacksons out here, like playing HCBB at 8 o'clock and then going out there and playing an OFL game at 10. So it's definitely something you see.
Awesome. Okay. So, with everything that has just been said, how do you see the future of road sports evolving? Do you think there could be new sports added, or what do you think could happen to it in the future?
I think most of the sports have been covered, and they all have very main games. I think if you have paid any attention to the member surge that we have had in just row sports in general over the past I'm just gonna say 2-3 weeks or something like that, it has gone from about 5,000, 6,000 daily players. In I'm not gonna name any specific names, but Ultimate Football has gone from 5 to 6,000 members to 26 to 30,000 constant players in the game, which is also a byproduct of A, the game getting promoted on the homepage, B, PlayStation players coming over because they are now cross-platform with that, and C, kind of just word of mouth and social media exposure. So those are 3 main components that are actually vital for the growth of that. So if you can do that in the football community, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to do that in row baseball, row hockey, row soccer, any of these other games.
To add on to that, I think a part of what can help with the growth is actually integration with I want to say brands, but I also want to say just the leagues in general, the actual leagues. I think getting the NFL or the NHL or the NBA somewhere in Roblox is a great way to expand it. I know that those leagues are trying to appeal to younger audiences, and I think this is the best way to do it is through Roblox sports games, because a lot of young kids who can't afford the big $60, $70 games on consoles come here to play sports games on Roblox. So trying to find a way to appeal to a much younger audience, I think, is going to be the future of Roblox sports in general. And then by the time that we get to that point, that younger audience will have matured a little bit and have created so many memories and experiences on this platform that they're going to recommend it to their siblings, or their siblings' friends, or so on and so forth. I think a lot of the growth for sports games in general comes from the younger audience, and if you can appeal to that, then you are set.
Absolutely. And I know that you guys said most of the sports are covered, and I agree that that's true to an extent. Most of the major sports are covered. I think there's definitely sports that, and this is where I would go in the future if I was doing row sports, make sports that maybe aren't represented as much, maybe they aren't as popular of sports, especially in America, but maybe they have a huge international following. I think row soccer has yet to hit its potential because I think the games are so stale for row soccer, and I think we need to see more like Rose Soccer, like a mainstream Rose Soccer game, like an Ultimate Football or something. But we haven't seen that. We've seen it be so closed. And then maybe something like a lacrosse game or a cricket game or something. You know, get those international audiences coming into the Rose sports scene. I think would be huge.
To go along with what Kingo said, a lot of the sports have not been unlocked yet. Like, yeah, there's been a lot of sports that have been covered, but obviously not every single sport has been covered yet. But when it comes to actually growing those sports, I don't think it could be any easier today, because as we've seen in the recent years, the bloom of TikTok and YouTube shorts being made, making a game has never been easier to promote, along with making like a YouTube channel or something like that. Being on TikTok and just posting yourself, like messing around with friends, just funny videos of you, like that grows people so fast. Like we've seen so many creators get made off of those apps alone, that making a game that appeals to a certain audience, you can find that audience on TikTok and then promote it that way. So promoting games could really never get easier at this point.
I would say that it's still definitely hard to promote a game. I've been through the ropes of struggling to actually get a game up and running multiple times, as everybody knows. And I think social media is usually the biggest way to do that. And it's always the hardest because you're playing against multiple different algorithms, whether that be the TikTok algorithm, whether that be the YouTube algorithm, whether that be Twitch. You also have to bug creators, Dime talking to you to play the games that you make. It can be difficult, but I think it's a lot easier than it was in years past.
Yeah. Let me correct. I did not mean to say it was super easy. I'm going to say it's easier than it once was.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, I also wanted to say, I forgot to mention this, and I got a DM, someone bugging me about it. Row Hockey, absolutely. But I think Row Hockey is another one where I think you have some good games there. I think it has so much more potential than what people are giving it, and I think someone needs to go out there and make a great Row Hockey game. Jason, I'm going to make a Row Hockey game.
It's funny that you say that. I was at the Bruins Sharks game the other day. And,
We suck. The Sharks suck. Let's go. We suck. We're terrible.
Yeah.
Let's go Bruins.
Horrible.
Bruins are better. Let's go.
I'm a Sharks fan. We are terrible this year.
But what was cool is like during the intermission between the periods, they would actually advertise on the big jumbotrons of like a Roblox hockey game. Like someone actually made it and partnered with NHL, and it was actually advertised. And I was like, dang, I need to get on that.
Well, yeah. The problem with this with the hockey game that they made, it's not like actual hockey. It's more like arcadey. And I think something like an actual definitive Roblox hockey game could be huge. And I think you should look into that, Jason, or something like some of those sports, or maybe a soccer game or something. Because like, here's the thing, and this is what I always say to new people. I always have people DMing me. They're like, I want to make a football league or a basketball league. I'm like, don't do it. There's so many Row football leagues. There's so many Row basketball leagues. There's an oversaturation in the market. You need to hit something. If you're coming in and you're starting something new, you need to innovate. And you're not going to innovate in Row football. You're not going to innovate in Row basketball. Yeah. You're going to innovate in Row soccer, Row hockey, those games that maybe don't have a definitive game, a definitive league. You need to go for one of those things.
Agreed.
To add on to what Jason said previously, I actually forgot about this. My friend Zavs made a Roblox handball game, and he made it. It got played by a couple of people, wasn't too popular, and then it kind of died. But I remember after one of my OCFA games, which is the feeder league to OFL, me and my friends were like, hey, let's hop on handball. And we hopped on, we played a bit. And we were like, wait, this is actually really fun. So I actually hit him up. I was like, yo, you should make a league for this. And I actually kind of like revived Roblox handball by myself. Because I was just having fun with it with my friends, just messing around. I made a video on it. And a lot of the comments were like, yo, we'd love to see you play this more. So I actually ended up fueling like 10 seasons of a handball league, and I don't know, it felt pretty cool, like knowing the type of influence I have to be able to kickstart a community by myself.
Someone's got an ego. No, I'm kidding.
All right.
It's funny that you mentioned handball, because I remember I want to say like a month before Ultimate Football released, someone came up and was like, "Hey, you should add like a handball mini game into Ultimate Football," and I was like, "Yeah, let's do that." And I pitched it to everybody in my dev chat, and everyone was like, "No, no, don't do that, don't do that, don't ruin handball." And I was like, "Okay, okay," but we could absolutely put handball in Ultimate Football if we wanted to.
I think that would be awesome because the handball community is low-key dying again because they can't find a stable league and nobody really wants to play.
Here's the thing: the handball game, I think, isn't actually handball enough. It's more just football throwing into a goal. I think you would actually need to.
No, that's exactly what it is.
I think if you're going to do a handball game, this is another one. I think you should actually do a handball game. And again, that's another one where I think you could easily do that and promote that. If you were to do like an actual handball game, I know Bombs made a handball game at one point, started development before he did HCBB, but he then decided to do HCBB instead. So I think handball absolutely has potential.
Oh, for sure. Because in this handball game, I mean, like, I don't really watch handball. I don't know much about it. But from what I've seen on the internet, like, you can't spin the ball. You can't put spin on the ball. I don't really know what else there is, but that's like the main thing I've seen. Like a lot, like when I've seen the clips on like Instagram Reels or something like that.
Dribbling, you have to dribble, and there's no.
Yeah, there's like dribbling. Like you can put a lot of spin on the ball. Like that handball doesn't have that right now. Like the game I was talking about, it's literally just football, except you try and throw the ball into a net. But
I also think something like maybe Ultimate Frisbee could be really cool.
Oh, dude, I've played Ultimate Frisbee. It's so awesome.
It's so fun in real life.
Yeah, I used to play it during the
someone mentioned
summertime.
water polo. Water polo. I mean, I think there's so many sports that don't have great leagues or games, and I think the issue is sometimes people will try to do them, but they don't.
I would love to see a cricket league. I feel like that'd be awesome. I have no idea how the rules work, but I've seen clips of it. Like people get hyped for that, bro. I've seen the clips of the stadiums, bro. Like it's comparable to like a Phillies playoff game atmosphere. Like that, like it gets hype.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I am going to jump in just so we have enough time for the other questions and the Q&A. So moving on to the next question, it was, what do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions about road sports?
I think that we have no life. We have no life.
I think
honestly.
I think I don't. The one thing that I don't like is that it's childish. What's any different than you sitting down at your desk and playing Madden or Call of Duty? What is any different than
Facts?
The comment I get the most often, the most common comment I get on my videos. Why don't you just play Madden? Why
Or
don't you just
bro
play
can't
MLB The
afford
Show?
Madden or something like that.
Yeah.
No.
That we have no lives, or that we can't afford other games, and why don't you play other games? I think that's huge.
Well, hold on. So I think the affordability is actually a great point, and that actually made me think of a point that Jason brought up earlier about younger individuals who maybe don't have the money to buy high-end consoles, high-end video games, and Roblox, I think, serves as a great option and a financial alternative for entertainment, right? So I feel like that the exposure to these high end leagues are getting, it's a great alternative, I think, to these high end console games. So I think it's a pretty valid point and a very common misconception that, okay, you can't afford it, but people shouldn't be making fun of others for that.
And even if you can afford it, there's actually, I think, so much value, and I think people don't realize this. In a game like CBB, Ultimate Football, OFL, you are one individual on a team, greater team. Madden, you're one person controlling a whole team. Yeah, that's fun, but I mean,
this is true.
You're one person
my
controlling
favorite
a whole
aspect.
team.
That's my favorite aspect of road sports. That's my favorite aspect of road
people are like,
sports.
oh, I have a Madden league. It's like, yeah, you're one person controlling a whole team, and there were 32 people in the league. Yeah, there's hundreds in these leagues.
It's like there's 32 team league, but then there's also 32 people per team in Roblox football.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a huge point of emphasis. You get to be your own individual player. No other game does that. No other game lets you be you yourself, and you can communicate with your teammates in the game. You can send them a little message like, "Hey, let's run a different kind of coverage. Oh my god, can you blitz please?" You can't do that in Madden. You just control the entire team yourself. So when you get to be your own individual player and have that communication, that's so fun, and you can't find that anywhere else. Not that
And I
I've
don't
seen it.
and I don't think Madden has the same sense of community because of that. I think people underestimate the community aspect of these games.
I want to say from a player perspective, a big misconception I see are people that just doubt their abilities and they say, "Oh, I'm not good enough to play in leagues, and I'm just not going to get on a team," and things like that. And it just could not be further from the truth. There are so many leagues and so many teams that really, despite your skill level, you're going to find a place on there, and hopefully you'll have teammates that will show you ways to get better. There are communities out there that do that, and people just think that they're not going to be welcome in that kind of thing, and it's just not true. And I lost the second part of what I was going to say to that, but that's the biggest one I see.
Agreed, agreed. I think ACFL, which is like it's like a developmental league. I personally I go into the servers. What I do with my teams is I go into the servers and I don't look for already experienced players. I look for the people and I type in the chat. I'm like, who wants to play? Who wants to play in a league, right? And I'll literally like try to bring them in, even if they're really not that good. I will try my best to teach them how to be a little bit better, just because I find that really fun.
I can say I've definitely done that before, but I don't necessarily do it in like the public servers. Actually, that's not true. I do it everywhere. Like if I'm playing in a side league or I'm playing in a public server, if I see someone that's actually playing pretty good, I'll like shoot them a friend request, like see if I can set them up in some sort of league to see how like gauge how good they are. And if I feel like they have potential, I'll be like, yo, I'll teach you how to play. Like I did it most recently to some guy I met in a side league. Like his team was terrible, but he was like the bright spot of the team. So I was like, yo, come over here. Like he played really well, and now he's like a starter in like the highest level of LFG football. So it's like it's crazy how people like that can go unnoticed, but it's also crazy how you can just like teach them the ropes, tell them what to do, and then they can become that kind of player where they're at the top of the leaderboard.
Well, that is one thing I'm frustrated with OFL, and I'm gonna go a little get a little interesting here. OFL, I think that is where OFL struggles, is that they only have so many teams and that they don't have a public game to promote the game, and because of that, people join the league, they have nowhere to go, and then they quit because they're frustrated because they have nowhere to play, and people just want to promote who they already know, and they don't want to get new people involved. And it feels frustrating in that regard because they'll go to join and then they'll be like, okay. Then they join, they sit on the bench for 2 games, they quit, and they have nowhere to play. And I think games like that, these people have potential. And I always say, those people you're pushing the bench, that could be the next Kelvin. That could be the next Relly. Those could be the next great players, but you're just pushing them aside because you don't know who they are and they weren't here since day one.
That's part of the reason why other games are a little bit more successful than OFL, because in these games you can have those side leagues where people can actually play to get better, play to get noticed and get discovered and all that. But in OFL, there's really only OCFA, but even then it's still not super great for recruiting players and all that. So that's why when it comes to like UF or FF, like it's a lot easier to get noticed than it is in like OFL or OCFA.
Well, I've told OFL they've actually removed teams, and I told them that's the opposite of what you should be doing if you have a lack of players. Because it's not the lack of players wanting to play, it's the lack of players being able to play, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. With OFL, with having so many members, that means a lot more people have the chance of going unnoticed. So if you add more teams, it means obviously more people get the opportunity to show what they can do. Because that point of it just removes opportunities is very valid.
Jimmy 27458 could be the next young Relly, and you don't even know it because you never give him a chance. Tyler, any
Okay.
other questions you got?
Yep, I've got a few more, but what I might do is there's a few questions in the chat, so I'm going to go through some of them and then back to some of my ones. So one of the questions is, why when you fail in Ultimate Football do you lose XP?
I saw that question a couple of times, and I was hoping I wouldn't have to answer it. The only reason why I have it is so that there's kind of like a negative takeaway if you perform bad. So if you throw a pick or you fumble the ball, then it damages your XP and your overall. Because I think one of the problems that we have with FBU is that when you gain XP and you gain good stats, your overall was just linear and going just straight up. There was no way you could ever go down. And so one of the moves we made with Ultimate Football is that while it's a small decline sometimes, it can also be a great incline when you're going from 20 overall, up to that 99 or to 100. So, but I have gotten a lot of negative feedback about the negative XP, so we'll see about that. It also encourages you to play better. You don't want to see that red negative 15 XP. You don't want to see that red, negative 5 XP. And so it's kind of like an incentive for you to go, okay, I need to, sit down and actually commit and actually play a little bit better.
Okay, interesting. One of the other questions, I've just had a look at the chat and then I'll probably go back to my ones. I know we already asked it and you got an answer, but do you have any advice for people who want to make a road sports game? This user was thinking about making a baseball Ultimate Football style game.
The way I walked into Ultimate Football was that I was going to treat it like a full-time job. Especially if you're going to make a game on like Ultimate Football on the Ultimate Football scale. Like I don't this might seem a little braggy, but I don't think there's another sports game that's like on the scale of Ultimate Football. But that's not because
Ego.
That's because we
I'm
put
kidding.
3
I'm
years
kidding.
into it. And we invested a couple. I want to say like something around like $20,000 or $30,000 into just commissions and paying people.
That's more
and
than my
making
net
stuff.
worth.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got all
It's
that
what it
money from
takes.
Football Universe, and that's what it takes. It's not easy. It's gonna be difficult. You're gonna struggle. You're going to hate it, but at the end of the day, I think you're gonna love it. The final months coming up to Ultimate Football's release were probably the most depressing and stressful time of my life. Because of just that crunch of like, okay, we've been doing it for 3 years. Can we get it out in time? Can we do it? Can we get it out at all? And what made it so rewarding, I think, at the end was the level of positive feedback that I got from it, especially after 2 prior football games to that. That I felt like redeemed it and made it that much more worth it in the end.
Absolutely. And as I stated earlier, and I'm just going to reiterate this, if you're making a game, do not make a football game and do not make a basketball game. I just think the market is so oversaturated with them. You need to be so in depth with your game. I just don't see how you can compete with these other games. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. Maybe if you do something absolutely mind-blowing, but at that point you're going to be putting so much into it. To me, if you're going to do that, start with a game like a soccer game or a hockey game that don't have a definitive game, and then work your way up to making a football game.
I would say the reason why you shouldn't make a football game is not because there's already games in football. I would say it's because the sport is so complicated. You have to consider field goals, 2 points, kickoffs, onside, safety punts. There's so many different aspects of the game that I found just like as I was making the core gameplay, just so frustrating and annoying. Being like, okay, I think we're done. Oh no, we forgot safety punts. Okay, do that. Okay, the ball rolls out the back of the end zone. That sort of thing. The gameplay is incredibly complicated. Whereas I think basketball is really, at least fairly easy. You shoot the ball in the hoop, and then Yeah, and if it's from this distance, it's 2
Bucket.
points. If it's from this distance, it's 3 points. And then when they score, the other team gets the ball, and that's it. That's it. That's what I gotta do.
It
But
goes out of bounds.
football, it's so much more. The other thing, I guess, the other piece of big advice that I would say is that it used to be a couple years ago that you could make your own sports game pretty much on your own, and I think Roblox has now come to the point where you really do need a big team. A lot of the top 50 games have full on teams that are ranging from anywhere from 5 to 10 people, and so the way I got started was just by getting a couple buddies together. We weren't good at building, we weren't good at scripting, we weren't good at anything, but we still made a game, and it still gained just enough traction that we could use what we gained from that to keep on going. So my advice is get your friends together, you know, and it's gonna be really frustrating, and you're gonna hate every second of it. But when it does release, and even if it does good or bad, it's gonna be more rewarding than you would have thought, before you even thought about making one.
I will say, as somebody
Yeah, I think
who's never made a game before, so sorry if this is bad advice, but the gameplay has to come first. I mean, you want to add all of these bells and whistles and make it look pretty, but if the
That
game's not fun, it's just not going to matter. And then after that, after you've nailed that, then I think the biggest trend that's just not talked about very much is what they're playing for. And I think Ultimate Football really does a good job with this. Is the leveling experience as well as cosmetics. It's cosmetics in those free to play games that really drive a lot of interest and value and just collecting things. So gameplay first, but then above that, just what am I playing for and what am I trying to earn out here?
exactly. One of the things I kind of pride myself on with Ultimate Football is it's not really Ultimate Football, it's more like ultimate customization. But gameplay comes first. I think that's something that we
yeah.
didn't do right in Football Universe was we focused more so on customization and less so on gameplay. And then when it came down to releasing and getting feedback, everybody's feedback was your gameplay sucks. But the customization is cool. And that's kind of the community we got was, well, your gameplay sucks, but the customization is good. So
Yeah,
and
and
I
it's
think now
it's
I
so
think
easy.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I think that's where we got Ultimate Football right. Is like we finally got the right balance between okay, gameplay is good and customization is even better. I think we finally hit the nail on the head with that one.
And
Now,
I think a big point of emphasis is that you can't neglect the process within this. You can be so fixated on that end goal. You can be so fixated on I want to make a big game and stuff like that. But it's so easy to sugarcoat some things or like glitter coat some things with cosmetics. You can kind of like make up for the poor gameplay with cosmetics by sugarcoating it. But if you're gonna make a big game and you really want to make it mainstream, you gotta like put some emphasis on the process. It's always gonna be a process. It's gonna be long. It's gonna be tiring, as Jason said. But at the end of the day, you got to go through that process.
one quick question for Jason himself.
Go ahead.
Jason, would you ever consider, and this is just an interesting proposal, I think,
Mhm.
single player version of Ultimate Football where it is like Madden? I know that would be a little different, where maybe you control a whole team. You could do like an Ultimate Team thing with AFL players as cards or something. I think that would be
Yeah.
something that could be genius.
That would be sick.
If I get to the point with Ultimate Football where I'm not having to plow through 10, 15 bug tickets every single day and not having to worry about this new feature and that new scoreboard UI and that kind of thing, then yes, absolutely. Prior to release, we actually had it set up where there was auto throw where you would just hold down, let's say like your finger on the player that you wanted to throw to, say on mobile, and if you held down long enough, then it would throw a dart. If you tapped, then it would throw a lob. And it would actually, it was so deadly accurate. It was like if we're gonna do auto throw, then we actually have to commit to like an actual Madden style gameplay where the AI that's playing as defense can actually keep up. So short answer, yes, I would love to. Long answer, hopefully soon. I don't know yet. I find myself waking up every day with 5 new bugs and 3 emails I need to reply to, and so wants a concept made, and something's always coming up my sleeve.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a whole different game at that point. I wouldn't even imagine how hard the AI would be to code, right?
Absolutely, and that's why it would need to be almost a completely different
Yeah.
game mode in there or a completely different game. But that
Yeah,
would be
I
awesome
I
to see if
I,
if,
I
if,
love
if,
I
if it
love
can
the
happen.
idea. I love the idea.
Yeah, I think AI would definitely be the hardest part, but I mean, the way I kind of look at it is like I could literally just recycle the logic that Ultimate Football has. We already have the gameplay engine, we already have all the stadiums, we already have all the assets. We just got to figure out how to work the AI, and then we're good.
Yeah, there's a game called Gridiron that has a AI offensive line and defensive line. It looks pretty poor for what it is, and it looks like the players are like falling all over the place, like they're going like sideways and flinging around the map every like play and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But if you could polish that for what it is, like kind
Gridiron
of
is a
that
pretty fun
concept.
game overall too, though. I will say, I do
It's
think it's an
fun. It's
enjoyable
fun.
game. But
It's
yeah,
fun, but it's like it's got a ceiling.
absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. There's a few more questions in the chat, so there may not be any time to go over my ones, but that's fine. Just try and find it. There's so many messages in the chat.
Real quick, I'm gonna say we got a quick question about where Kiri is. Unfortunately, Kiri did have a prior commitment and could not make.
Yeah. Someone in the chat also asked, bro, I've been feeding you effortlessly, and why do I keep crashing when I'm on 20 streaks? We personally actually make you crash. Like, whenever we see you're on a 20 streak, we actually crash you.
Great.
That's exactly what we do.
Okay, I've found it. So one of the questions is, not all the positions in Ultimate Football feel equal and fun. And do you think this could ever be changed in the future?
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, sure. The question was, not all positions in Ultimate Football feel equally fun. So do you think that could be changed in the future?
I think football as a sport in general makes it really difficult to put the spotlight on every single player all the time. There's Ultimate Football, while it is American football, I wouldn't say it is like corely what you would think of when you watch an NFL game, where there's offensive linemen, there's centers, there's defensive linemen, linebackers, safeties, all that sort of thing. I think that really comes down to really just like four core positions, and that's there's quarterback, there's a wide receiver, you can be a corner when you're covering on defense, or you can be a rusher, or I guess you want to call it a defensive end. Um, and I think that for the game, the style of gameplay that we have right now, that's about as good as it's going to get. Kind of going back to like, would you make a Madden game? I think if we were going to do um, and include positions like running back and actual offensive linemen and tight ends and all that stuff, I think that would be the perfect place to put it in. It's like an actual by the NFL rule book kind of game. That's where you could probably get all the positions in. Whereas I think this kind of goofy style, this goofy arcadey style of football doesn't really permit multiple position types, and kind of or limits it to that three or four that I was talking about.
Okay, awesome. And the last question I can see is, how did you promote your games after investing an entire team to develop them?
I remember when I first made RNFL one, Roblox NFL one. I remember actually going to the head coach of OFL, and I was like, or not the head coach, the commissioner, and I think it was Verilion. It might have been Verilion or it might have been someone else, but this was like 2015, so all you OFL nerds probably know what I'm talking about.
Be Maured,
But-
Nintendo, or one of those guys.
I can't remember. Maybe it was a smaller league, but I remember going to like a commissioner of a big league, and I was like, "Hey, is there any way that you can just host my game? I'll make you a beta tester. If you want compensation, I'll do that." And the guy was like, "No, I don't care. I'll just do it anyway." And so that's how we got it. It's just doing those like cold style pitches where you're just walking in blind into a room. Metaphorically, obviously, this is Roblox, but just kind of just going to someone's games and being like, "Hey, can you promote this real fast?" And and just talking to them. And then when it came to Alta football, I mean, we had such a good enough community that like I knew we were going to at least do like numbers that were the same as or maybe greatly better than Football Universe. But what was nice was getting content creators on the game. Shout out to Juicy John, my bro. I love that guy. Um, he can be wild with his ideas for videos, but just being friends with as many content creators as possible and kind of forming that like tight knit community with the media creation scene can greatly improve the reach that your games have. Especially, I know that on YouTube, especially if you can get like a million sub YouTuber to play your game and to make a video on it will explode your game. And if you did the gameplay very, very well, you'll keep that steam. Was somebody? No? Okay. So that's my answer.
Okay, awesome. And
So cute,
then,
Jason.
okay, so what are some of the most memorable moments you've had, or all of you? Are there any good moments you've had which you would like to share?
So my favorite moment ever was when so ACFL was a developmental league, as I had mentioned before. So it brings in the new players so that we can develop them. And so what I did is I got the most no offense to this team because they all develop now, but they were at the time the most clueless team of all time. And I found it so fun teaching these new kids how to play because we were just having so much fun learning the game. We were having so much fun with this new experience, and I was having fun that I could give those people that same experience as well. So shout out Clemson, shout out the Clemson team from I love that team. It was back in the old like FBU days, but from what it was, that was the most fun team I've ever had. Because me and all my friends got together and we're like, you know what, we're gonna take this group of 20 kids and we're just gonna teach them. And we made them player cards and everything like that. We got them exposed in the media. We got them like playtime and everything like that. We were having so much fun with that team.
Absolutely. And there are three moments that stick out for me. One as a player, one as a coach, and one as a content creator. I think for me, they're all OFL related. I think, winning my first Victory Bowl back in season 5, I literally was on the floor, like crying as a 13-year-old kid, being like, oh my God, we won. We were undefeated. Oh my God, we did it. Because they scored on the last play of the game, a touchdown to win. Oh, that was the rush of emotions. It was like a roller coaster that whole game. And finally winning was like, oh my gosh, we did it. Second one would probably be probably when I was a coach in season 12. No one believed in us. No one believed in us in season 12 for the Warriors. We went 7-1, started off the season 7-0. Granted, we lost the playoffs, a very heartbreaking playoff lost in overtime, but the fact that we were able to do as much as we did, and I won the head coach of the year award, very very humbling and very great. I was so grateful for the guys on that team. A lot of those guys were inexperienced players. Some of them are now great players who I think I can take some credit maybe for coaching them and helping them become better. And then I think the third moment would be Victory Bowl 31. Was just such an anomaly. Pasta helped out with that. Dime EQ helped out with that. So I want to give a huge shout out to them, obviously. That was a really fun event. We had over an hour-long video pregame show and like intro that took us about 2 weeks working nonstop to complete. It was absolutely unbelievable how long it took to work on that, but it was so worth in the end. And even if the game was a blowout, that I still think is my magnum opus as a content creator.
That was the one I did the PA for, right?
No, we were gonna have you do PA, and then unfortunately fell apart. But you did the PA later, which was good because it kind of gave us something new to do in the future.
Right.
I gotta say, the moment that sticks out to me the most out of just being a content creator, or I guess this could be like more general, but I can give more of a specific example. But I gotta say, my favorite part about making content and just doing stuff for the sports community is watching the Super Bowls, or the championship games of all the leagues. And I got the one that sticks out to me the most. It's actually I posted a picture on AFL's last championship game of me with a bowl of popcorn in front of a flat screen watching, I think, Kiri Callie stream it. And I gotta say that is the most fun part of just doing all of this. That's what makes it all worth it. Is actually like watching the community come together, make a league, form a schedule, play it out, duke it out, and then it all comes to the pinnacle of this one championship game. And you get 300-400 people watching it, and it's just so much fun. And I gotta say, the one that sticks out to me the most, I remember I was screaming, just like hyped about this, was probably I want to say it was Reese's first Super Bowl. When
Yeah,
down to
best game ever. That was the best
It
game
was-
ever.
One
that
of the
was
last
the
play of the game, right?
that was the best one. That was the best one because I remember I was like, oh, dude, it's over. He's gonna lose. Da, da, da. And then I think the last play was like he walked in for a 2-point conversion and he took the lead by like a point or something like that. And I can't remember if I was on the couch watching it. Yeah, I can't remember if I was on the couch watching it or if I was like in a VC watching it. But all I remember is just like shouting and screaming. And my housemate at the time came over and was like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "He won! He won!" It was amazing. That's gotta be the most memorable part of just doing all this.
Absolutely,
Oh my
Reese.
God.
Reese, me or not Reese. Sorry, I'm so used to saying Reese when I'm talking about AFL. But Jason, me and you and Reese, we need to all work really hard on this next one because
Please.
we're gonna make something that people have never seen before for this next championship. I think
Let me know what you need.
we'll do.
I think one of the worst parts of the game is when you're in the Allegiance Bowl or you're in the finals and then your Wi-Fi just decides to go to. I don't know if you guys can relate to that. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but there was this one time. Anyways,
Yeah, I remember in the earlier versions of LFG, some dude made it to the Super Bowl and somebody booted him offline right as the game was starting. So he got
oh,
yeah, somebody booted him off, like the quarterback too, not like some random guy. Like they booted their starting quarterback offline before the game started, so it had to be postponed.
yeah.
Positive memory for me was kind of in the early days of content. I was just kind of experimenting. I had heard a lot about the algorithms on social media, and I was just testing it. Really, I mean, me being here was just never, never planned. Really, it was just like, oh, let me just post some videos and see what happens. And it was the tutorials. It was my kicking tutorial and then the rushing tutorial that just blew up. And all of these people came in and were just, hey, this really helped me and things like that. And just kind of got that engagement and just was just mind blowing for me. It was one of those initial moments that just said, hey, this is actually something that I can do. And so I've continued. And that was, a year and a half ago, and I'm still here.
So
Yeah,
JJ, and I wanted to say I posted a TikTok randomly. It was the first thing I did. I just posted a random TikTok one day. I took a nap, woke about 2 hours later, come back and at 300,000 views. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm on TikTok now. I made it as a complete joke. Like I thought nothing's gonna happen with this, and I come back and it has 300,000 views. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm a TikTok creator now.
It's crazy how quick it can go.
Okay, and I'm just looking through the chat again. There's a question just getting at Jason, and the question is there a chance that college teams will ever be added?
If we're talking NCAA teams, if we can get the license, man, absolutely. If there's anybody from the NCAA that's in the chat and wants to get something going, contact me, man. I'm right here. But in terms of just like say like fictional kind of user generated teams, not right now. We have the minor league teams that we dropped for the season 3 update, and I think we're just gonna stick with those. But I have had people come up to me and ask when is the next series of teams coming, and I still have burnout from having the last
DM'd you.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I have you and I have someone else. I can't remember who wants teams, but
I only want my one
I-
team added. I want
Yeah.
my one OFL team added, man.
But yeah, if we can, it'll happen for sure.
Okay, that's cool. So, what are. I've said that one, sorry. uh, okay, so how do you see your group contributing overall to the road sports community? Because as you mentioned, you are a massive group, so how does it contribute towards everything, I guess?
Is that for me?
Yeah, it can be, or it can be for anyone here.
Can you repeat the question one more time? Something about the group.
Yeah, sure. So, how do you see the group contributing to the overall of road sports? So, your group, does it contribute towards everything
I
as a
see.
whole? Or?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would say it's more so even just even simple things as like Discord communities. I think one of the really nice things about having kind of like this row sports and even just Roblox in general, is that it really is a tight knit community and family. You know, I think that we bicker and we annoy each other and we get in each other's nerves a lot, more times than we could probably count. But at the end of the day, we're all just one big family, and we all look out for each other. And I think that's probably one of the nicest things about just Roblox in general. When you compare it to even things like Madden, whereas I feel like Madden is a little more disconnected than it is for Roblox. Um, when it comes to like the groups impacting the success of the game, I think it definitely helps because you can have that kind of access to your community. I don't think you can have that same level of access when you have a game, say on like Steam, or if you have it on any other platform. Having everybody on in one centralized place, whether that be Discord or Roblox, is the most rewarding thing and the most helpful thing that you can possibly experience as a content creator. And that goes even beyond. And when I say content creator, I mean like even as a YouTuber or even as someone who just streams games. You know, it's having that level of low level impact and communication can be instrumental in the most in gaining success in anything that you want to do.
Okay. So, there's a question that has literally just come through, and it says, CLXR, what were some of the most enjoyable moments you can recall from the US development period?
Um, let me think. The most memorable piece from UF development. Um, the, I hate to say it, but the first thing that comes to mind is we were making the referee models, and we started out with all just old men because usually it's in in NFL football it's always old guys being the referees, and we were kind of goofing off and being like, well, what if there were some like actually female really cute referees and whatnot, and so we're being dumb and we were pulling UGC items off the catalog, and we made a bunch of like a very diverse set of female referees, and we pitched it to the community, and everybody was just like, they're like, oh dude, I would flirt up with that referee, like if I score a touchdown I'm definitely walking up to her. And so and it was just crazy, just like a stupid idea. I think it was like midnight, we were just kind of screwing around, and it eventually made its way into the game. And so now you can, if you score a touchdown, you can go walk up to one of the female referees and hit the gritty on her or something.
I think my favorite part was when Jason DM'd me, "Hey there, gorgeous. What I gotta do to get you to come play UF with me?"
Yeah. That's usually my go-to response. I'm like, hey, hottie, what do I got to do?
Yeah. It's a great game, by the way, Jason. It's a great game.
Thank you. Only took 3 years.
Top 10 game ever made. Probably number 3 behind like Zelda and
Halo 3, Halo
yeah,
3,
Halo 3. It's up there though. It's top 3 ever made.
Hey man, just to be on the list, that's an honor. I'll say that.
Well, actually, Spider-Man 2 might pass at this.
And work at McDonald's simulator.
Oh, actually, can I keep answering that question?
Go for
Another
it.
thing that I thought was kind of funny. Um, I hope Carter is in here, but when we were working on like the hub, um, for the game because there's like a trade hub. We were like towards the end of development, I was like, hey, we should probably have like NPCs, people that you can walk up to, interact with, and if you have a question, that's where you can get your answer, that's where you can get your question answered. And so it's like, okay, let's make a bunch of NPCs. And so a bunch of us guys got together. I wrote up like this generator script, and it just generated a bunch of NPCs, and we got to pick them out. And going back to the whole like female referee, there were a couple girl NPCs, and we just kind
Yeah.
of started giving names to NPCs. And there was this one girl named Luna, and Carter, my beloved Carter, during testing was like, "That is my girlfriend. Don't you dare walk up to her and ask her a question." And then I remember I can't remember who else, but somebody walked up, took a picture, and was like, "Hey Carter, I'm stealing your girl right now." And he actually got on and was like, "No, you are not getting my girlfriend," even though it's just like an NPC in the game. So it's stupid, but it's just so funny.
Fair enough. Okay. So another one just comes through, and so it's probably aimed at everyone that's made or contributed towards a game. But do you have any favourite tutorials on Roblox Studio to help you make a game like Ultimate Football?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Say that my headphones cut out. But say that again.
Okay, the question was, are there any favourite tutorials on how to make a Roblox Studio game? So, for example, something that
Oh,
helped you make Ultimate Football.
um, so I started doing Roblox development in like 2011, 2012, and I started off with Stickmaster Luke's tutorials way back when in 2012. Um, and then from there, it's just been self-taught. I've always done everything kind of on my own. I will say, um, the Roblox wiki is your best friend. The dev forum is like your brother, and then YouTube tutorials are going to be also the best help. And if you have, what's great about the forum is if you have a problem with something that's not running or working in your game, chances are somebody's already had that same problem, already posted about it, they've already solved it, they posted their solution, you know, and then tutorials, YouTube tutorials. I know there's a good set by Alvin Blocks that can help you out a lot, but I always say like the toughest thing about learning programming, especially even just Roblox in general, is that it's really just a lot of trial and error. You're gonna get frustrated. You're gonna be tired, exhausted, but you have to keep at it because if you even leave for a couple days, you might forget what you already learned until you've done it so often and so much that it's just a second nature to you.
Okay, that's very interesting. So, a question which is added on to that part, and it says, what did the testing slash polishing the process of the game look like before you released it?
Um, so I want to say about last August, not this last, like August 2022, is when we actually brought on actual testers to play the game. And I want to tell you, the first week was miserable because they found so many bugs that we couldn't account for, and there's still bugs that we never even thought of happening that we still have to fix and solve. Um, but the way it worked behind the scenes is I met a bunch of people who I trusted and my friends trusted to bring on as testers to see if they could help literally bulldoze through the game and see what they could find. Um, and we did that from about probably about August all the way through February, and in it, we did a couple. We initially it started out with a bunch of play tests, but as we started working through getting the trade hub working and mini games up and running, it got to the point where we were doing like maybe a play test every other week, something like that. Um, because as you iterate and you polish more, you don't need to test as much. But I will say one of the things that you should the one things I would do differently about it would be to test even more. It's always frustrating, I think, when you fix something and then someone joins before that fix is published, and then they're spamming you saying, "Hey, this is broken, this is broken." And it's like, you're typing away, being like, "Dude, I just fixed that," and it's frustrating to be overwhelmed with bugs, but I think doing it differently, I would keep that and have them continue to annoy you, because you there's so many things you can't test for. There's so many edge cases that you'd never imagine possible. Um, that could be the difference between someone not being able to put on an item and a whole server stalling out to the point where you'd have to either vote fix or just wait till everybody leaves. So um, game development is frustration, a lot of frustration, but at the end of the day, it's so rewarding and so much fun.
Awesome. Okay, there's a few more questions in the chat, and then that's probably going to be everything we have time for. So if anyone wants to ask anything else, now's your chance. There's two current ones in the chat, and the first one, which is probably aimed at everyone, and it says, "What do you think was the real difference in marketing getting new players for FBU to US?"
The biggest difference in marketing. Um, what I think for me, the difference was I played a much bigger role in actually communicating with content creators and actually getting them to like the game and figuring out what works best with them and what doesn't. Juicy John, Dimer Dylan, Dime Q, they were all on the tester team when we opened up at that August, like I just mentioned in the last question. And my whole thing was like, what works for you? What do you hate? What do you love? What can I do better on? Because ultimately, they're going to be the ones that are advertising the game. And if they don't like the game, they're not going to play the game. They're not going to make YouTube videos. They're not going to make TikToks. They're not going to do anything about it. And so, figuring out what the content creators enjoy can be, like I said, the difference between your game being a 100-player game versus 1,000 versus even 10,000. And I think having them involved was the best thing I could have ever done. When we were working on Football Universe, we never involved any YouTubers or anybody into the development process. We literally just winged it. We never really properly tested. We never had a dedicated testing team, and there was minimal involvement from the outside community in that game. So the difference between those two games is immense in terms of development and then release. The other thing is we also did a paid release so that not everybody flooded in, and that helped out a lot.
Okay, cool. So the last question I can see in the chat is, do you think there'll be any competitors anytime soon?
Competitive. There's already a competitive game mode in the game, but I need to advertise it more and make it more.
No, he
obvious
means
to
like I
everybody.
think he means like competitors, like other big games.
Oh,
that
like
can
other like
compete.
competing games.
Not for the next 3 years.
I hope, man. I hope Fusion will always be my competitor. I think I can rest and die easy, knowing that my game got more players at least once, more than Fusion. I think there will always be competition. There could be a point where, I mean, Ultimate Football is the #2 game right now, and it's doing great, and it can be doing even better. But you have to assume that there's always going to be someone who's trying to one up you. Just because you're on the throne doesn't mean you can keep it. If that makes sense. So yes, there's absolutely going to be more competitors, and trying to keep pace with them is going to be the most difficult part of our game. You know, I was talking to Jason John the other day, and I told him about a football game that just popped up, and it had like, I think, 200 players, and I was really stressed about it. And he was like, "Dude, you are too anxious about a small little 100, 200 player football game to be this worried. You just relax, man. You're doing good." Um, so I take everything very, very seriously because I treat this as my full-time job, and I've bet a lot of my cards on this game working out, and so far it has. It really, really has. But anything could change at the flip of a dime.
The game has gone really well, so massive congratulations to you for the amount of work you and everyone here has put into it. So massive well done for that, and I wish you all the best to you. So the last question I can see is: will AFL AB make a return?
The cleats.
The cleats, sorry. Yep. Will the cleats ever make a return?
Tyler, just so you know, in FBU in Jason's old game, if you won a championship or something like that, they would put customized cleats into the game for the champions to wear. So it was like a cool trade item.
Cool, fair enough.
If you make them, I'll add them. Let me just put it that way. In years past, it's always been like a team will win, and then they'll be like, "Why haven't you made the cleats yet? Why haven't you done that?" And I always say, "I'm like, dude, it's not my responsibility. It's not even our responsibility to make the item. We'll provide the template, we'll give you the stuff, but if you don't make it, then I can't promise that it'll be added."
And I guess the only other question I have would be, would you ever consider something beyond cleats, like rings even, or something where it's like could be like maybe not wearable, but like like an actual 3D model of like a ring, or even like a wrestling championship belt? I think could be something cool.
Yeah, I mean anything. It could be literally anything. My only thing is like it has to be consistent. I don't want it to be like every other season a different kind of item. I'd rather just be like consistent across multiple seasons. And this goes for any major league. I'm not biased. Well, some people think I'm biased. I'm not. I don't care. I just want to do what makes the community and everybody happy. There's one other thing I was going to mention, but I can't remember. But yeah, would love to, but make them.
Okay, awesome. I think that's all the questions. Unless anyone's going to drop anything.
Last second, if we want to let Kiri in here for a second.
Oh, he's here?
Yeah, he said, "Yo, where's the Discord?" He's DMing me, bro.
Darth Vader, chill.
Hold up. If anyone has the last second questions for Kiri, we could throw him in.
That's so cool.
Sorry about that, everyone. We have a special guest as well, so we've got Kiri also here. So say hi to everyone.
Hello, everybody. Happy to be here. Once again, big shout out to, obviously, everyone who's been able to compose this, and obviously to Tyler for letting us have a voice here. I want to say hello to everyone that's been there watching the streams, etc. So.
What's up, Kiri?
Absolutely. I want to give a huge shout out to Kiri, who is one of my huge inspirations to do this. So give a shout out to Kiri Cowie. He is the GOAT, by the way.
Hey, Kiri, can I ask you a question?
What is good? Yeah.
What was your reaction? 2.8K. That was maybe one of the biggest milestones that I've seen in pro sports like history.
I was very excited about it. More so, not even for my own end. I was more excited about it for Jason and Ultimate Football. It was something that I've always wanted to kind of put out. Again, Roblox football's always been big. We hit 2.8 thousand viewers on a TikTok stream for one of the Ultimate Football competitive leagues, which was LFGUF.
Whoa!
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I think the most I've ever gotten is 1.3K or something on TikTok.
Yeah, and it's crazy, and I'm pretty sure that was that for OFL? Was that for
it was the first game I did for OFL. Was a regular season game. It was just a meaningless regular season game, and it's actually in reality it's the most watched OFL game ever if you combine the Twitch viewers with it too. So kind of funny, more than any victory bowl. So I'll take it.
That's the wonders of TikTok right now. I think TikTok really loves Roblox, and there's the specific audience starting to head towards there. But I want to say for sure that it definitely meant a lot to hit that record. Again, for Ultimate Football, and for the fact that it was my franchise that was involved in it. Big shout out to Suno. I see him in the chat. Um, I want to say, again, it was awesome to kind of give that for my own franchise. I had the project this season for LFG UF that I wanted to kind of showcase a certain group of players, and it made it easier that it was my own team. I got to connect with these guys along with being able to commentate more and give more analytics than what I would normally do for a regular kind of game.
Oh, Kiri, I think I speak for a lot of the content people here. You were my inspiration to start doing this, and I think a lot of the content people here can actually say that as well. So, very glad to see Kiri Callie in the building. And Kiri, I wanted to ask you, I guess, we'll do a speed run of the questions that they asked us. What was your favorite moments in Row Sports? That's anything that stands out.
My favorite moments in Row Sports has to be for sure, and somebody was mentioning it as well in the chat. Definitely Roblox WWE. When we got to do something with Roblox Wrestling, that was one of the biggest moments, especially for production wise. Normally, you get a lot of there's some wonders about public games, but there's the very one big pro, one of the only few pros I would say to like something to where it's just developed for competitive only is the for Roblox Wrestling they had this one person named X Sama. He was easily one of the best developers for Roblox Wrestling. I believe he's still a bit back. He was banned for I believe it like an asset or something that didn't actually have anything, but it didn't go through with the filter. He was amazing. He was outstanding, and he did, I believe, this Spider-Man introduction for one of the wrestlers, and it was so good. And it's just this one moment where I commentated, and it was the most amazing thing. These guys
You the
had
one who
so
made the
many different
Spider-Man
moments.
movie, like the Spider-Man movie thing?
No, that was Roblania. They have a really good production too. Roblox Wrestling has one of the best productions by far. I think a lot of them need a bit more shine and more spotlight. These guys are amazing, especially when it comes to again developing that isn't necessarily like the same as they may not be as organized, I would say, but they have easily one of the best production and talent for production. I got a guy actually. I want to mention this because he's awesome. One of the few Roblox Wrestling producers to become or to join in for Cloudburst as an animator. Steven Spectacle, dude is amazing. Jason got to really see that too. This guy, man,
Love that guy.
he can animate you anything. Yeah.
Is he the one that does like the graphics, like the UF draft thing when you're first loading into the thing?
No. He does your
that the guy?
celebrations. He does the throwing animation, everything that's actually gameplay wise. That is him.
Sweet.
And Jason, just quickly, there's a question in the chat aimed at you. It says, who would be on your top 5 Ultimate Football quarterback list?
Say it, Jason. You're right.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one.
Say it, Jason. Say it.
I'll say it's probably got to be Finley at number 1, and then Huddy probably at number 2. I haven't seen Reese play in a while. Pred is definitely up there somewhere. Not in the playoffs. This is not a playoff list. This is a regular season list. No,
Huddy would be like 30.
Yeah. No, I can't remember many of the other QBs. I need to watch the games more often. I literally never have the time to just sit down and relax. So, but
I'm in Jason's top 3. Everybody. You heard it here first.
If I didn't say Reese is definitely up there. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow.
any other Ultimate Football questions?
He's just lucky. You guys are just lucky I haven't decided to play in the league yet. Otherwise, I'd be number one. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's all the questions. Unless anyone's going to add anything else, which go for it if anyone wants to.
Absolutely. Does anyone have any final questions here? We're coming up on an hour and a half of this, which I want to thank you guys. I know someone asked me to say this, so we got a couple time for a couple more questions here, which means, Kiri, what time is it? This is crunch time! There it is.
Let's go.
I know someone asked me to say it, so there we go. I had to.
I read that too. It's
I see
classic.
one question from the Kawhi.
Put the code back up. Put the code back up. Put that back up, Jason. One second.
Is
it reverse? Is it
Oh my
reverse?
God. No, it's up. It's up. I see it. You're good.
Oh, it is. Okay, it is correct.
Q and A. Got you. All right, just got coin.
You got what is the moment, your favorite moment, all the Road Football games you streamed? It's either between Kelvin's game-winning throw that ended up being one of my top clips, that, or it would have to be, man, that's a tough question. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's the Super Bowl.
I will say, yeah, it might have to be, honestly. But I'm trying to think of which Super Bowl, because there was one where Reese. Oh yeah, it has to be that one, where Reese and I think it was the 49ers. I want to say.
Yeah.
He ran it in for the touchdown, and then the 2-point attempt to win the whole thing. That was easily one of my favorite moments, for sure.
We got questions about when the stream team's gonna form again. We're gonna form a stream team in AFL.
Oh my God.
That would be an interesting way to
we
go.
probably get destroyed. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
We definitely would.
Especially with someone I know at quarterback.
Whoa!
Nah, I have faith in Hoodie.
I have faith in Huddy. I don't have faith in these other clowns.
I'll tell you
It's all
this.
good.
I'm gonna get my.
You're all gonna O-line. You're all
my-
gonna O-line.
I'm gonna get a triple crown as a defensive end. I'll be fine. I got it.
Let's go. We're bringing a new offensive and defensive formation to the league. They won't expect it. They have no
Yo,
idea
put
what's
me.
happening.
Can I be a Joker like Cordarrelle Patterson?
Yeah, you're
Put
the
me and
Taysom Hill. You're
JJ
the
squad
Taysom
up,
Hill.
man.
He's the gadget
Yeah,
guy, man.
No, I'm gonna be the coach. I'm gonna be like the sideline coach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's our
Yeah,
Doug
dude.
Peterson. He's the play caller.
He's the Bill Belichick.
Philly.
It's gonna be nothing but trick plays, trick play offense.
Yeah.
Where he's gonna throw in the Travis Kelce hook and ladder to Noah Gray.
Okay, I think that's everything.
I wanted to thank before we
thank
sign off. I wanted to thank everyone so much for coming through. It's been such a pleasure having you guys, and we really do thank you. And Tyler, such a shout out to you, man. You are the GOAT.
Yeah, shout out to Tyler, everybody, because this guy set all this up. I didn't know about this until yesterday. So, shout out to Tyler. He's the
He gave
man.
us a voice.
All I know is I
and,
got added to a group
appreciate
chat.
that.
Got added to a group chat. Kingo's like, "Yo, we're doing this." And I was like, "Alrighty."
The one thing I will say, if anyone wants to do another event like this, we are hoping to do another one. So if you guys want to see anyone in particular, feel free to share their names and I'll see what I can do and try and contact more people. And yeah, we'll definitely do something like this again with all of you.
Let's go.
Sounds
Thank
great.
you so much.
So cool.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Tyler.
much, Tyler.
That's okay. Thanks for joining everyone and I will see you all soon.
Thanks,
Great
guys.
stuff,
Thanks, Tyler.
team. Great stuff, team.